What is your favorite rule of thumb? Person 1. A game changer. Never comment negatively on someone's appearance, unless it's something they can fix in a few minutes. Person 2. If you're giving a presentation, just make 3 points because that's all anyone will remember. Repeat the 3 points at the beginning and at the end. My dad does a lot of presenting and explains it similarly. Tell them what you are gonna tell them. Tell them what you told them. Person 3. I think it is useful to look at your life starting at age 18 or 20 because before you are 18 you don't have a whole lot of control in what you are doing. So when you are 30 years old and having a midlife crisis, switching careers, going back to school, not married yet, etc., don't think of yourself as being 30 years old, but think of yourself as being autonomous for only about 10 years so far, with 35 to 40 more years until you hit retirement age. Person 4. I learned this when I was at my first job out of college. Was working in the steel mill industry, and this old-timer Joe, who has turned 65, was finally retiring. He had been a manager supervisor his whole life at his steel mill. Worked from when he was 18 in this industry, which is pretty hard to do. A lot of people get fired as a scapegoat if stuff goes wrong or someone gets hurt. Anyway, he got a plaque for being there that long. All with the same company. Anytime I would come in take over his shift, he was always calm, cool and collected, even if his heat really went sideways, like train derailments, equipment catching fire, furnace melting, etc. Anyway, when it was his last day, he shook my hand, and as he was walking out of the office, I stopped him and said this, "You know, Joe, I feel like it would be silly of me not to ask you something with all your experience. If you could give me one word of advice, what would it be?" He paused and took his time to think, and this is exactly what he said. Always have a good reason before you make a decision, in case someone asks. Sounds simple, and it is, but it has helped me and benefited me in so many ways throughout my life that it's kinda unbelievable. It seems trivial, but I assure you it's not. This applies to everything, but especially helpful in a business or work setting. It comes in handy a lot. And when someone asks you why you did something, you always have a well thought out reason. You can answer them immediately. Person 5. Under promise, over deliver. That keeps everyone happy. Never commit other people's time in the meeting. When there is an ask, always get back to them and check with the people who you are committing. There may be priority, work you don't know about, or constraints you are not aware of. Person 6. Actually, measure your finger spans and joint lengths on your hands. Chances are several will match up with the common measurements, and you can actually use your thumb digits and combinations of hand parts to do good enough measurements for a number of tasks. My father had a specific finger span down so accurately he could cross-cut lumber in a construction project in a pinch. Every now and then he had to go back and knock off another 1/8 to get it just right. But watching him measure multiple foot lengths that accurately with just his hand was amazing. Person 7. A lot of ones I have picked up teaching healthcare topics to all levels of competencies. If you can't explain in a simple terms what's going on to your patient, then do you really understand the condition? This works alongside explaining to your students. They will teach you where your knowledge gaps are through asking questions. If someone appears in pain, don't assume they are a junkie unless you can categorically prove to someone that they are indeed a junkie. Diagnosing someone with a mental health diagnosis when you have not ruled out all medical possibilities is a lazy diagnosis. And finally, for the olden days when handwritten notes were more prevalent, the old adage was, if it is not written down, it didn't happen. But if you wrote it down and nobody can decipher what was written, it may have happened. That last one was more of a tongue in a cheek one. Person 8. The Pareto principle. If you want 80% of the results, you only have to put in 20% of the effort. If you want that 20% of results, that's where the real hard work comes in, the last 80% of the effort. This is reframing of the original idea, but it applies to a lot of things in life: physical fitness, financial health, new skills, etc. Person 9. Never put anyone's name in the address section of an email until you're ready to send it. Draft first and distribution list last. Learn this one the hard way. Never repeat what others have told you. It generally always gets back to them, and then they feel they can't trust you. If you demonstrate you can be trusted with confidentiality, then people will tell you everything, compliment loudly, criticize quietly. Treat the cleaners and janitors in your workplace with respect. They do an important job. Person 10. I have a rule about always doing things at the first chance you get. By this, I mean if you need to use an ATM, go to the first one you see on your way to your destination. The one you planned on going to near your destination might be out of cash. I have found this little change has saved me time and time again. Person 11. In the event of an emergency, don your own oxygen mask before helping the person in the seat next to you. Works on airplane, works in life. Person 12. It takes more effort to be lazy. Just put things away when you are done with them. Example, you come in and throw your coat on the couch. Then a friend comes to your home, so you show that coat over. Then a pizza arrives, so that coat needs to move to the wall hook. After a few days, the wall hook is full, so you have to do a mass reorganization to get that coat and the rest of the hanging stuff where it belongs. Now you have moved the coat 4 times minimum and spent a dedicated hour reorganizing your wall hooks just to put the coat back in the closet. One time touching it 5 seconds total. Person 13. A couple of my favorites. If your upkeep exceeds your income, that will be your downfall every time. It is better to keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool than to open it and remove all doubt. Maturing is realizing how many things don't require your command. Fortune favors the brave. Ships at a distance have every man's wish on board. You are only interested to the extent that you are interested. A barber will always tell you that you need a haircut. It's faster to say the World Wide Web than www. You measure the size of the accomplishment by the obstacles you had to overcome to reach your goals. You don't always have to get wet to know it's raining. Seek to be the worth knowing rather than be well known. Every corpse on Mount Everest was once an extremely motivated person. Never miss a good chance to shut up. Raise your words, not voice. It is rain that grows flowers, not thunder. Your energy introduces you before you even speak. The taste of the roast is affected by the handshake of the host. Wise people talk because they have something to say. Fools talk because they have to say something. Don't cling to a mistake just because you spent a lot of time making it. Person 14. If you can do it under 5 minutes, do it now. Choose what makes you happy. You will never know if you will get hit by a bus tomorrow. Don't judge people parking in a handicapped spot or who are in a mobility scooter that don't look disabled. There are a lot of invisible disabilities out there, and the stigma can prevent them from using the tools that help. Person 15. Surprised that I have not seen the rule of 3. You can survive for 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Basically, the idea is that this is the order of priority in a survival situation. You can have all the food in the world, but it doesn't matter if you freeze first.